10 and 20 million immigrants.
Can you
Look
shut
at the
him
housing stock of working Americans, and can you maintain some level of dignity?
Gentlelady's time has expired.
Anytime you have the opportunity to expose these wholly unqualified, degenerate, mindless, brainless Democrats who shouldn't even be in the same room. They should consider it a great honor and privilege to be in the same room. And by the way, that's not even close to the half of the insanity and the mayhem that they caused while our Treasury Secretary, our masterclass Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, testified before a congressional hearing on economic stability in the housing market. These guys have no right to be in the same room with them. I'm going to share that with you. You've got to watch this. This is brilliant. This is a masterclass. Let's get right into it. I don't even know how to set up this first clip. It's just pure insanity. I don't know how Representative Gregory Meeks even has the audacity to show up to work and call himself a representative in our hallowed halls of Congress. But this clip to me sort of just sets the tone for the entire hearing. Here he is, inexplicably yelling at our Treasury Secretary, the dignified, the intelligent, the highly qualified, the high IQ Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. I mean, like, it's so abhorrent, and this needs to be shared everywhere. I'm done. He goes absolutely and I'm just going to share it.
All you have to ask is yes or no.
No, Congressman.
All you have to ask
the
is yes or
OCC
no.
is an independent entity, and I would know, Congressman.
I take that as a no.
You traveled to Venezuela.
I take that as a no.
On behalf of
your donors,
as a no. On behalf of your donors,
you do not want to answer that question. I take that as a no.
For a $7 billion.
I'm asking you to do your responsibility as Secretary of the Treasury.
Into a Venezuela.
You do not.
Mr. Meeks,
Time
has expired.
You cannot erase what you did in 2000.
He's the one that went past your time, Mr. Chairman.
No,
he did not answer my question, and he wouldn't pass the time.
He had 6 seconds left to try to answer your question, and it
was a yes or no. It was a yes or no answer. I asked him, will he? No, was
gentleman,
yes or no?
Recognizes the gentleman.
Stop covering for the president. Stop being his flunky.
Gentlemen.
He's talking to me. I'm responding back to him.
2006 trip to Venezuela.
Stop covering for the president. Don't be a flunky. Work for the American people.
Mr. Meeks,
trip to Venezuela.
Work for the American people. Don't be a cover-up for a mob.
Maybe you're going to
as long as he talks.
Gentleman is not recognized. Mr. Bessent, please.
It's just truly a gigantic embarrassment. I dare you to name me one accomplishment. What have these guys done? What have they achieved? Every poll suggests that every issue that these Democrats fight on is like an 80-20 issue. Every consensus suggests that the approval ratings of the leader, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Nobody's Dreams Jeffries, the entire Democrat cabal is plummeting. I mean, it's headed into like subterranean levels. And yet what do? They don't modify. They don't change a damn thing. Maybe because they can't come up with anything. Here's another clip. It's so embarrassing for the entire country. Another Democratic Representative Beatty talks to Scott Bessent like he's a child, but his response is perfect. Watch.
Appropriated funds, Treasury will be.
Is this going to be a yes or no?
Program award.
Mr. Secretary. No. I'm going to abide by the chairman's rules, but I have some rules. You can say yes or no, and then if you say yes, you may continue to give that support. If it's a no, then you tell me why not. And now we need to be clear. Yes, let's start with the yes or no. I'm trying to be respectful, but you're not going to do what you want to do on my time. Yes or no, or you can say I'm not going to answer it. Now move on.
Number 3.
Okay, so let the record show that he refuses to answer a question. No, we're not going to do that with me. We are not going to do that with me.
It's the gentlewoman's time from Ohio.
Now, you opted for number 3, so you get to hear my wrath that you refuse to answer a question under your authority and what this administration, and yet you've talked about the value of housing And you're not releasing the funds, and I want the record to be clear on that. So let me move on.
You heard that correctly. She said, you're going to hear my wrath. I mean, this is such an embarrassment. I dare you to name me one thing that is more egregious, that is more abhorrent than undeserved, unwarranted confidence and cockiness. Like these people, it's kind of like with Ben Stiller. Like you wish that imposter syndrome had really taken over. You know, everybody has maybe a little bit of that. If you're a human being, you've got blood running through your veins, like actual warm blood coursing through your veins. You get a little bit of that. Even yours truly. I'm sure even President Trump, well, maybe not President Trump, because quite frankly, probably he's the greatest of all time. Look, think of it. I'm helping the country. That's why we watch Professor Nez. All right, I'll stop. I love you, Mr. President. But it's like you would hope that that imposter syndrome would at least give you a little humility at the very least. With these people, it's like they just kick that imposter syndrome to the curb. There is no doubt. There is no sense of introspection or hesitation or, you know what, maybe I should approach this differently. It's just straight undeserved cockiness, and it's super embarrassing. Here's the full clip of our great secretary embarrassing low IQ Representative Maxine Klingon Waters. I don't know how this woman, all the worst politicians come from my home state, California, but this is priceless. Watch.
To investors raising concerns about the impact of tariffs, writing that, quote, tariffs are inflationary. Did you say that at that time? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a New York Times article that, agrees that you said
New York
that.
Times.
Then last summer, when you testified before a Senate committee, you said, and I quote, there is no inflation. Tariffs are not being passed on to consumers. You were quite definitive and even claimed that critics had, quote, tariff derangement syndrome. Well, those comments are at odds with the statement you made to investors that tariffs are inflationary. Again, I want to be clear, so just let me ask you, are tariffs inflationary? Yes or no?
According to the San Francisco Federal Reserve, with 150 years of data,
Yes or no?
Tariffs do not cause inflation. San Francisco Federal
Well, last
Reserve,
November, as the
Congresswoman,
Trump administration finally began to realize.
I just have to chime in here really quickly because what you're seeing is something that is just, it's beyond despicable and embarrassment. She's just reading. She knows nothing about the economy. She knows nothing about how government works. She knows nothing about infrastructure, about financial systems and processes, of the intricate, interdependent ecosystem of how everything works, global trade, trade deficits, economic viability, et cetera, et cetera. She's just a total, complete, brainless mook shill reading off of an article from a news media outlet that has completely lost all credibility. I don't know if you heard Scott Bessent go, New York Times, are you kidding me? And Scott Bessent doesn't need anything to read off of. He says, go off of 150 years of data. Tariffs don't cause inflation. She completely just dismisses that.
In America are not a hoax. You told Fox News that the government was going to reduce tariffs on goods like coffee and bananas, and that doing so would, quote, bring the prices down very quickly. Mr. Secretary, why was that announcement even necessary? If tariffs aren't inflationary, and as you and the president like to say, are paid for by foreign countries, by the foreign country, a tariff on coffee or bananas shouldn't raise the price of either. In my time,
was a mass
claiming my
unfettered
time.
immigration.
Mr. Chair,
You
will you
let
let
in
him
between
know
10
that
and
when I
20
asked
million
him time
immigrants.
to
Time does
took
belong
up
to
the housing
gentlewoman
stock.
from California.
10 and 20 million immigrants
Can you
took
shut
up the
him up?
housing stock
Oh,
of working Americans. And can you maintain some level of dignity?
Gentleman's time has expired.
No, my time has not expired.
Your time has expired. And the gentleman,
The gentleman took up my time. I think you should recognize that, Mr. Chair.
the gentlewoman's
He took
time
up
has
my
expired. The gentlewoman's time has
Well,
expired.
if you want
Chair,
to,
parliamentary
if you want to
Chair,
protect him,
the chair
Mr.
recognizes the vice chairman of the
Mr.
committee,
Chair.
Mr.
If you
Heisinger.
want to
Parliamentary inquiry.
go right ahead, but I would not expect you to do that.
I mean, where is Maxine Waters' family? Where are the other Democrats who should just really step in and be like, Maxine, it's over. Hey, Maxine, I hate to break it to you. It's over, girl. It was over a long time ago. You are not representing anybody but yourself. You are working on pure menopausal emotions that have completely clouded your brain. I mean, if you weren't intelligent to begin with. Now it's just deteriorating at such an alarming rate. It's scary. You need to be locked up. You need to be in a home. You need to be sat down in a chair and read to like a child because you have no business being here. But wait, there's more. Here is our good friend, Senator Van Hollen. Remember him? He took margaritas and went to El Salvador to get this known convicted smuggler, gangster, Tren de Aragua terrorist, because, you know, they fight for criminals. They don't fight for American citizens. Holy smokes. Wait till you hear this exchange. Van Hollen trying to bring in Minneapolis and Minnesota and these two radical agitator, violent nut jobs like Alex Priddy and Renee Good. And listen to Bessent's response. This is amazing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No more. Mr. Secretary, I think you would agree that the credibility of the Secretary of the Treasury is important, and I want to give you a chance to retract a statement that you made on national TV. Alex Priddy was shot 10 times and killed by federal agents in Minneapolis. The administration, some administration called him a, quote, domestic terrorist. You suggested that Alex Priddy was culpable in his own killing because he had a gun in his waistband holster, which he was licensed to carry. When asked, you said, quote, I'm sorry this gentleman is dead, but, and you went on to say he had a weapon, suggesting that he was culpable in his own killing. So, Mr. Secretary, today, would you like to retract that statement?
I would not. And would you like to express remorse over the death of Ashley Babbitt here in the Capitol?
Oh, I have expressed remorse over that. So I've done that, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Secretary, please don't. So you think I have other questions, but I actually would have expected you to take this opportunity to rephrase your response to that question. So you think the fact that he legally had a gun justified his killing?
I didn't say that at all.
You said, do you think he was culpable, partly to blame in his own killing because he had a gun?
I did not say that.
I'm asking you a question now. Do you believe he was in any way culpable for his own killing because he legally killed?
Yes, I'm saying it. How do you like that? I'm saying he's totally 100% culpable because he injected himself. He was a lunatic. He was attacking law enforcement officers who were simply doing their job. By the way, really quickly, sorry to break in here. Do you think that he created his own consequences, Alex Priddy and Renee Good? Remember, Renee Good was dancing in the middle of the street, blocking ICE for 45 minutes, and then tried to run over somebody. And there's actual medical proof because the ICE agent she tried to run over had internal bleeding. Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, I'm sorry. I just had to jump in here because I get so...
Again, this is an FSOC hearing.
Yeah.
So
but you're the Secretary of the Treasury.
Why do we talk about financial stability and oversight?
Okay, two things. I loved his response. Do you condemn Ashley Babbitt, who died at the Capitol? Number two, Van Hollen doesn't give a rat's ass about Priddy or Renee Good or any of us American citizens. This guy only cares about what Democrats care about, themselves. They're afraid they're going to be dejected into the free market system and actually have to compete for jobs. They can't do that because they don't have any qualifications. No, who would hire Ghetto Crockett? Who would hire Van Hollen? Who would hire? I wouldn't hire these people to mow my lawn. I'm dead serious. I wouldn't. If Van Hollen came to me and said, in that stupid, creepy, oh, he probably has some children on his laptop, I guarantee it. And that little would you like, let me see if I can do a Van Hollen impression. I'm very qualified, and I can actually, what I'd like to do is I'll clip the hedges first, and then what I'll do is I'll pick the weeds out. No, stop right there. Get off my property before I exercise my Second Amendment right. Okay, pal? Get out of here. I mean, it's so absurd. So I love Bessent's response, but also, this isn't about, why are you injecting politics here? We're here to serve the American people. You're here for a political motivation, political agenda. You're politicizing something that does not require that. We're here to talk about finance. We're here to talk about the housing market, economic stability. Why are you even injecting that into this? Because that's all they care about. their narrative and their agenda. They're panicking. They know they're losing. They know they're going to be thrown out in the street. And this is their response. Instead of actually doing something, they're attacking more. Okay, and I saved the best for last. Pocahontas, Pocahontas, here she comes. Elizabeth, the useless, deranged leftist Warren. Okay, you're going to love this. I kind of like that song. Here is the full exchange. I'm just going to leave it for you like this beautiful creme brulee dessert for all of you guys to appetize on. Here is the exchange between Pocahontas and our great Scott Bessent. Enjoy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So for a solid year while he ran for president, Donald Trump promised pretty much every day that he was going to lower costs on day one, if he was elected. Those were his words, not mine. So Secretary Bessent, you are one of the president's top economic advisors. Let's just start with a little truth-telling about the Trump economy 1 year in. Affordability is the top concern for Americans across the country. Donald Trump has called affordability, I want to get this right, a hoax. He's called it a scam. He's called it a con job. You're the Secretary of Treasury. You know the numbers. Is affordability a hoax, a scam, or a con job?
Senator, it may be a bit nuanced for you, but what President Trump is referring to is the media saying that the affordability crisis was generated by this administration when it was you and President Biden who destroyed the buying power of the American people. So there is an affordability crisis, and you were front and center in it.
So let me make sure that I understand. Donald Trump is not saying that affordability, what's happening to families right now, is a hoax?
He is saying that trying to lay the blame at this administration rather than the Biden-Warren economy is a hoax.
Okay, so it all happened before he got it. And everything that's happened since then, nothing is a hoax here.
21.5% cumulative inflation.
Let me just ask about what's happened in the 1 year that Donald Trump has been president. Last week, President Trump said, quote, "We have the groceries going down." Did grocery prices drop in 2025?
Numerous prices have.
Did grocery prices drop in 2025?
Numerous grocery prices have gone down.
I'm sorry, I don't know if you can't hear me. Did grocery prices drop in 2025?
Numerous grocery prices have gone down.
Some of them.
And in fact, we have seen inflation at 2.1% for the past 3 months.
Have you seen the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that is Donald Trump's own Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers, that report that grocery prices were 2.4% higher at the end of 2025 than they were at the end of 2024. Trump's own Department of Agriculture has projected that those prices would climb higher in 2026. And under Donald Trump, families are paying more and more for groceries. So if you're just going to insult people by denying the facts that are out there and tell people they're doing great when they're struggling, I think that's just another way to say you don't have a plan to bring down these prices. You're not willing to admit the failures of the Trump administration.
Senator.
I will ask you a question in just a sec here. It's not just groceries. The numbers from Trump's own economic agency show that Americans are paying more for utility bills, more for health care, more for housing construction. Families aren't fooled by these lies. Mr. Secretary, you owe it to American families to own up what's going on. And Secretary Bessent, I have one more question for you while I have you here. You ran the search for Donald Trump's Fed chair nominee. And Trump promised, quote, "Anyone that disagrees with me will never be Fed chairman." Kevin Warsh got the nod last Friday, and then over the weekend, Donald Trump joked that he would sue Mr. Warsh if he failed to lower interest rates. At least, I think it was a joke. But just in case, this should be an easy one, Mr. Secretary. Can you commit right here and now that Trump's Fed nominee, Kevin Warsh, will not be sued, will not be investigated by the Department of Justice if he doesn't cut interest rates exactly the way that Donald Trump wants?
That is up to the president. Can you commit that you will?
I'm sorry.
Can you commit that you will not
can't
hold
say that he
hold
won't
up?
be sued if
Can
he
you con-
doesn't
can-
drop interest rates?
Can you?
And he won't be criminally investigated?
The president
was
also made
supposed
a
to be
big
the
joke about you that I won't
softball.
repeat, Senator Warren.
That was the
Well, actually,
easy
I will.
one.
He said he had
You know,
reservations.
if this was a
But
joke,
the-
why not just say so?
It
You
was a
can't
joke,
commit-
and he made a joke about you
I-
too, Senator Warren.
Yes,
got
he
got a
did.
lot of laughs. Got a
Yeah.
lot of laughs.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to respond
know,
to that.
I do
But-
want to
but what I
respond.
can
I don't
tell you
think
too
the American
is
people
Mr.
are
Walsh
laughing.
is highly qualified.
ones who are
and
struggling
why
with
don't you
affordability.
why don't you tell the nation what you told me, that you held up Chair Powell's
Secretary-
renomination?
I want an honest opinion of everybody watching. I personally think Scott Bessent has proven his mettle. He is an all-star in this administration. He is a cabinet superstar. And I would not be shocked if Secretary Bessent is tapped to be a VP nomination. I could see him as president, to be honest. Talk about bringing austerity, dignity, integrity, likening to our forefathers. He's got that and a whole lot more. Plus, he has a good sense of humor, and he knows how to give back and push back, which I love. Let me know in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on Bessent after watching these exchanges? And if you're not convinced, have to share this before we go. That DEI kills. It is the invisible contagion that slowly bleeds into every artery of society, decays it, toxifies it, poisons it. I want you to check out this clip of Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott, who accuses a reporter of being racist for asking him why his taxpayer-funded SUV cost over $160,000. Watch.
We'll just stop you right there. We get it. We understand that your station has this severe right-wing effort underway. We get that. But you also, you guys are dragging this thing out and also not including all the facts. A vehicle that was purchased in 2023 is not the same price as 2025. Right? You have to understand that reality. When you look at, I'm talking, you can listen to, let me talk, please. We heard your question. You've asked the same idiotic question now for 3 months. We understand that when you look at a base price for SUVs, base price of SUVs now are, as you know, between $90,000 and $100,000. You're talking about a police vehicle with police equipment on it added on top of that vehicle. It's very simple. And when you look at, these are not astronomical costs, right? You guys in your station in particular would never ask the President of the United States how much the beast costs. You wouldn't do that. You would never do that. This is ridiculous. Let it go.
We looked at costs for Governor Moore as well. His car costs about $78,000 to $80,000, and he drives across the state. Governor Hollen's car costs $70,000. Now again, that was bought when he was in office.
That's a long time ago. And I also would.
Inflation calculated, still it costs $100,000, and you didn't answer the
I
question.
understand that. I did answer the question. Just because you didn't get the answer that you wanted in your racist slant, there's one thing.
So let's just give the benefit of the doubt. Let's just say that this station is right-leaning. Maybe they do have some kind of racist slant, which I doubt. Why not just answer the question in a very calm and composed way? Why get so defensive? You see, I've been around long enough, and I've studied psychology. I've taught psychology. Maybe a lot of you don't know this. If you've made it this far, I know this video is long. I'll just go ahead and tell you guys as a bonus. You know, I've suffered from severe anxiety and depression my whole life. And I've overcome it in a lot of different ways. I still struggle once in a blue moon, but not quite as bad as I used to in my younger days. And so I know enough about psychology that when you are not in the wrong at all, when you are devoid of any wrongdoing, you don't need to act defensive. You don't need to attack. You don't even need to entertain it. You just simply say, that's just not true. This is this. You explain it calmly, logically, and move on. When you show that kind of emotion, that kind of anger, and then instead of supplying facts, evidence, and data, you retort with personal ad hominem attacks, that just reeks of guilt. And so I leave that to you. Let me know what you guys think. I can't wait. I know this video is long. I can't wait to hear what your comments are. Let me know in the comments down below. Tap that thumbs up. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right now, just in case you missed them. Tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. It doesn't cost you a thing. And as always, may God bless you and God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.